I've been teaching summer school for about 10 years now. I specialize in Klingon language studies. Much behasta, Dutch.
Much behasta, Dutch, Miss Roy.
How much for these apples? I can be strict, but I just want them ready for the real world. In Klingon culture, it's important to exercise the body as well as the mind. Teaching Klingon's a lot of hard work, and you have to make many sacrifices. But at the end of the day, if I have changed one person's life for the better, that is a small price to pay. Hijama Jia Ko.
All right. Welcome, guys, to episode 14 of the Klingon Invasion. Tonight, we are joined by our special guest, General Hauk of the IKS Hog. Did I get that correctly?
Hoof.
Bless you. Bless you.
Means Dark Star.
The Dark Star. And also by Captain Scott Sterling tonight, who apparently decided to go webcam off.
I hit the wrong button. Hi, guys.
Looks like we already have our first comment.
John
saying the USS Glenn Miller's here. Thank you for joining us tonight, John.
So,
Thank you.
are you ready to surrender?
Are
Surrender.
you?
Surrender to what?
The Klingon Empire.
It's called an invasion.
The Klingon Assault Group. CAG.
So what is CAG exactly, for all those who may not know?
I don't
CAG
know.
is an international group of ships, except we are Klingon. Kind of like Fleet 31, a little bit larger. We have ships all over the world, and we embrace what it is to be Klingon. Many of us actually have Klingon outfits, and we actually have houses. I am head of House Hanej, which actually means Pathfinder. And Mr. Galloway is a member of our house.
Wait, he is?
Yes,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
I am a member of the house.
My ship is a part of Fleet 31, but it is also a part of CAG, the Klingon Assault Group. I'm in Dark Star Quadrant, and what can I say?
Which
We're
is-
Klingons, and we love being Klingons. If you enjoy being Klingon, then you should be a part of CAG. The cost is a little bit less than Starfleet International. It is free. Free. And just
Right,
think,
yeah, Steve?
when you are someone like Steve or Jenny or Galloway and you go to a convention, you go there as Starfleet. Imagine going as Klingon, going up to them, pulling out your blade, and leaving their corpse on the ground behind you. Imagine blowing their ship out of the stars. You see, Scott's ship hides in Northern Virginia. He hides on the other side of the mountains because he's afraid to come into the Shenandoah Valley because he knows that we Klingons hold it. Seriously, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, they do. I can honestly speak for that. I know that in CAG you start off as a Lance Corporal
Yes.
and work your way up the ranks.
And and a lot of that is tied to getting your uniform. When you get a uniform and your look as far as Klingon, to where you can your cosplay together, then you actually become an officer. And the advancement is tied to the events that you go to, representing CAG, representing Klingon, representing your ship, and you go from there. And it's like the more you do for the organization, the more you go, the higher you get in the ranks. Which, by the way, sadly, as Scott can attest, there haven't been that many conventions around here for us to go to. So what we could do was kind of limited. Now, thankfully, they are starting to have more conventions around here. So I'm hoping to grow to more than a lowly lieutenant in CAG. It's ironic. In Fleet 31, I was a general in charge of the fleet. In CAG, I have a ship and I'm a lieutenant.
We need to work on that.
Yeah.
Quit being a Harry. Quit being Harry Kim. I mean,
Yeah, Harry Kim was an ensign.
But there's
Wait, who's
about that.
Harry Kim?
I'm
But never
not.
get
I'm not
promoted.
going to mention any names here, but there was a certain person on right now who was trying to beat Harry
What are you
Kim's
talking
record.
about? It wasn't my fault.
And you could actually thank the general down there for your promotion because he signed off on it. I submitted the request, but he signed off on it.
And
Yeah.
now look at me. I jumped from it within
Lieutenant
like 2
Commander.
or 3 years. Yeah.
Don't you love being a flag officer? I was
Oh,
very happy
lovely.
to become a captain in the fleet again.
Hey, silence you. I got a long ways to go. Except for honestly, I never expected to be a fleet commander during a time of COVID. So this is a completely different type of element.
Mhm.
It's
You
really
got
go ahead.
you definitely got thrown into the deep end because not only was the fleet more inactive, now on top of that, you're having to pull the fleet together in a time where people are stuck at home.
Yeah.
But by doing things like this, you're actually able to reach them a lot better and a lot
Mhm.
easier.
Mhm.
All right, here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just moving back into another screen here. So you're saying you're part of CAG. You're also a member of Fleet 31. Do you go to conventions yourself, Mike, or General? We'll
Yes.
call you General. Which conventions do you like to go to?
My favorite one is Sci-Fi Valley Con, which is in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I travel several hours to go to that one because at that one I am able to meet up with Richard Smith's ship, and actually have met up. Oh shoot, I can't think of the other one.
It was a growler, wasn't it?
The Growler is actually up in New York.
Yeah. That's Ed's ship, the Growler.
Mhm,
No,
yeah.
no, I thought they came down for it at one point.
Not when I was there, but
Okay.
I got to meet Richard's crew and got to know them, and they are a great bunch. They are a great crew, and it is a. You've been to Awesome Con, Scott, so you know what I'm talking about. That convention, when you went to it, it is tight. You have this crowd of people, and you had narrow walkways to walk through when you're trying to browse.
Isn't that every convention? Sorry.
This
Come on.
this one had a great deal of vendors, but it also had more spaciousness, so you could actually browse and enjoy it. And there were some great costumes that were in there. That was actually the first one I went as a true Klingon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because speaking of like conventions, I would recommend to anybody who hasn't been to one, start with something smaller. They
Mhm.
are more personal. They're more intimate,
Mhm.
not in a physically way, but more intimate as like you get a more of a connection, shall we say?
Start with a close one and one that's closest to you. That's the best option. Also, there's a website out there. I think it's called upcomingconventions.com or something like that. I have to find it. But it will tell you every convention that's going on around the world. And it'll give you could pick a state, you could pick an area, and it'll tell you. And it has sci-fi, it has horror, it has anime, all of that. I'll see if I can find that link for y'all to look at.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
do not recommend anybody starting with like San Diego Comic Con. Don't go for the Crown Jewel or even Star Trek Las Vegas unless you're ready for a show.
And see, I,
Mid-sized ones can be good.
Yeah. You know,
I,
go ahead, Scott.
I was gonna say I started with Star Trek Las Vegas, and I've kind of worked my way down through some of the smaller cons to see what they're like. And you're right,
And
start
if
with
you
a smaller
can,
con first.
yeah. Because I can tell you right now, my first time I went to the Star Trek convention, I did a lot of research. Thanks to Mike, you might know these things. People like the G&T show. I reached out to them back when they were back on the air, Carrie and them, and they did a couple videos for people like me. I asked for that video, and I'm so grateful that they did it. You know, they gave me the do's and don'ts because I probably would have been that guy that would have ran up to like the actors. You know. Oh no, the first time I went there, my poor best friend Mike. Somebody said, okay. My poor
Sorry,
best
I'll
friend
remember.
Mike was Mike American was I felt bad for him because I just took off I was like a kid in a candy store. I was gone.
You
I remember
were.
running into these two. You weren't even there, Kaylee. I remember running into Scott and Jenny. I ran into a couple other people. I was like all over the place,
Yeah.
and I did honestly. By like in the afternoon, I felt completely overwhelmed. I didn't know where to go, what to do, and this is after studying. And then I was like, then I met up with my mom, and I met up, and then it's like, yeah, let's stick to the schedule that you have. So anybody who hasn't gotten, or if you are going to go to a big convention, I would highly recommend you do a schedule. So that way
Hmm.
you know
Mhm.
what you want to do. Be flexible on that schedule, knowing that you might miss a couple things. Especially if you cosplay, you're gonna miss a few things. So that way
Yeah,
you can at least go
look
ahead.
into if you want to start with a big convention, look into the apps. A lot of them will have apps for your phone that you can go through and schedule your own events, and it'll send you your reminders. Because you might be shopping away and totally forget that you want to go to the panel, and so you can set it up to remind you, 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes prior to the panel, so it reminds you. I think Creation had one last year. Yeah, Fan Guru.
Mhm.
Yeah, they did.
And it was really nice because it was up to date, and they can send you notifications about schedule changes and all that stuff. So a lot of them will have some type of app that you can use.
Have any of you ever heard of GalaxyCon?
Yes.
I
It
had.
I only
actually,
know it by their virtual cons have been doing. But anyways, yes.
the virtual cons are actually because um, we managed to get. They actually have a convention that goes in several cities, and I know of the one that's in Richmond, which I'm trying. I want to talk Scott into going to next year, and then they have one that's in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then they also have like 3 or 4 other places as well. They always have Star Trek stars. I mean, we're talking top name. I met Quark last time, and the year before that, I met Odo. So I got to meet the actor before he actually passed, and they actually had others. Um, heck, they've even had the Doctor there. Um, but what I'm trying to say is it's a good medium sized con. It's not as big as some of these others, but it's also not small either. It's one that you can actually walk up to the table and have some time to talk to the different stars. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they also have, like you're saying, the app. And the app was a lifesaver because when I went in this last year, I only had a limited amount of time and it helped me pick out exactly when I wanted to go.
No, what the general here is speaking about is sometimes on the bigger conventions, they'll have some people like Garrett Wong who purposely gets his own booth and he mans it, and he can meet with the fans, but they have other actors who cannot commit that kind of time. So they have him in
Mhm.
a special table, and those guys will literally, you can go up and talk to them, but it's kind of rude if you decide to do that. I mean, if you do, make it a quick question and make it fast because they're mainly there to sign autographs, to get paid, and then to leave. And they have like a small window they can do that in. So I mean, it just depends.
All right, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
When at the conventions you've gone to and you've seen Star Trek stars, which was the star that drew the biggest crowd?
Uh, my least favorite,
Which
Shatner.
Shatner?
Shatner.
Shatner.
Shatner, no matter where, I personally don't like Shatner either, but that's another story time we can have. Um,
Oh,
but
come on!
he
You
just
got to talk
brings
about
in
the Shatner experience.
you can just he just brings a lot of people, even on cruise. Like
Mhm.
the cruise, it sold out fast because Shatner's going to be on there. If no one else is going to be on it, they don't care. But some reason people still want to say Shatner, and I don't understand. I mean, I understand. Yes, he was the original Kirk and all this stuff, but he's not the greatest dude.
I've never met him, but I've heard that he likes his privacy and he likes to keep distance, and he's definitely got his opinions, from what I understand. When I went, we had this last time. You had Troy, you had Jordy, you had Quark, and the person that pulled the most, Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton,
Mhm.
and
Probably because he
that
doesn't do
actually
a lot of.
surprised me.
It doesn't surprise me because he won't go to
He,
a lot of
yeah,
conventions.
he would not do curation. He was treated very badly with curation one year, and he would never do it again.
So he swore them off. But it's not just creation he won't go to either.
Some other ones he won't go to.
You know, you gotta. In his situation, he was treated very poorly because, in the same way, it kind of reminds me of some of the Voyager characters and how the way they're treated. Like, for example, Ichef's character, right? When they're doing a Voyager panel, why isn't
Yeah.
Ichef on there? He actually was in the audience, in line, asking questions because creation doesn't recognize Ichef as a regular cast member, even though he came on from like season 5 and on, right? It was season 5, I think.
Oh yeah, he was a
And
regular.
none of the celebrities like him either for some reason.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why he wasn't in Picard. That they chose another actor for that one scene that he
Well, it's not another
character
actor.
was in.
It's the same actor, but the older version of him.
No, when it
That's
came
what I
to
was told.
when it came to Ichep, I do believe they recast the character. It
So
was a
they
different
didn't
actor.
use
Yes.
they didn't use the older one.
No,
Mm,
they actually passed him. He was available,
Yeah.
but they chose someone else.
yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe Egypt didn't want to die, or the actor didn't want to play a death.
Who does? Because that was one of the things that came out in one of the Ready Room episodes. I believe they were talking a little bit about it.
Mhm.
It came out very well, like in just the Star Trek community on Facebook and stuff. A lot of people were talking about how they just ignore Egypt generally. I mean, granted, they killed it. Well, spoiler alert. Sorry, that might have been a big spoiler if you haven't seen
Not
Picard yet.
really. Come on, it's almost out. But okay, let's stay on this topic for a brief
Yeah.
second. Like Molly's character, right? From TNG, D Space Nine, played by Hannah. I think it's Hatati.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
she actually gets her own panel. Well, not her own panel, but she gets to share a panel with them.
Yeah.
But yet the other actors, like Naomi Wildman's character, Ichef's character, none of those guys ever get to light of day. And it's really sad, especially when you think about how big the franchise is. It's like, why are they doing that? And people like Wesley Crusher.
And you also don't see them during a lot of autographs, but yet they'll bring some random guy who was in one episode to do autographs.
I
But
was
they
about
won't
to
have,
say that.
they won't have Molly or Hannah or Naomi Wellington. That's not her name. Naomi.
And you're saying part of that is creation?
Yeah,
Evening, Brett.
I think
Evening.
it's probably creation. Also, in general, how often do you see those I guess you some B line characters
Yeah.
to as somebody else? Like if you go to Dick Convention, it's always going to be the main characters. Occasionally, you might see some.
I don't call them B characters. I call them support characters.
Yeah, support character. That's a good term for it. I was trying to think of another term for it.
The B character is something like the guy who plays Strand, who plays Wei Yun. That is like a B type character. What is his name? But he plays like a little of everything.
Jeffrey
Combs?
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Combs?
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
He is
an
awesome B character.
He is one that I would pass up a lot of the other ones to go see.
Mm-hmm.
You should go see the Rat Pack then.
The Rat Pack's great.
Because there's a lot of B characters in it.
Thank you, Kaylee. We do have this.
That's not me.
That's not Kaylee Plays. From Cadet Kaylee on her own YouTube channel, Cadet Plays. Okay, there's your plug.
Cadet Plays?
Kaylee Plays.
I'm like, I'm not Cadet Plays.
You're not Cadet Plays? We should change your name. Anyways, getting back on topic. No more self-plugging, Kaylee. No, but you're right. I mean, that's why I think, Mike, honestly, why people like Will Wheaton, Wesley Crusher's character gets those big poll turnouts is because he doesn't do a lot of conventions.
It makes sense.
Yeah. And so that I can definitely see. I would love to actually see Will Wheaton in person.
He's awesome.
He's one I wish I could have gotten close to, but the line was just too long.
Yeah.
It was neat
Right.
seeing him, though, because it was like the lights of heaven had shone down upon him, and he was all perfectly manicured and everything, just like you would have seen on the Ready Room.
Well, y'all know the story about what happened to Scott and I, right?
No.
No.
Did we not say this story?
I don't know. Tell us
Scott
again.
knows the story I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So on our
It's a good
first
story.
cruise, we went to the cruise in 2019.
Hmm.
And it was my birthday, so I was all decked out. I had like a little hat on. It's my birthday shirt on, It's like, well, might as well. Well, we get in the ship, and you're trying to find anywhere you go that's a new place. You're trying to find the lay of the land. So we were just wandering around. We were coming up the stairs. Will Wheaton and his wife, Anne, were coming down the stairs. We literally run into each other. I ran into Will Wheaton
Oh wow.
because
Literally.
they were trying to they weren't really paying attention. We weren't really paying attention because we were trying to find our way around and looking around. And we literally, I like ran into him, and I go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he says, "Happy birthday." I was like, "Thank you," and I got so many happy birthdays that I didn't process who it was. So Scott and I just walked off, and they walked off.
And you're
Not
like,
maybe
who's
like a
this guy?
minute later, we both stared at each other. And go, that was Will Wheaton. I can't believe they just ran to Will Wheaton. Oh my gosh! And I was like, man, I could have talked to him a little sucky, maybe got a quick little picture. Or, I mean, granted, you're trying to be careful and you don't want to ask them for pictures and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I can't believe I ran into him and he wished me happy birthday.
I had one actor run into me almost, but he smiled about it. It was Travis Merriweather,
Hmm. Anthony
Anthony
Montgomery.
Montgomery. Yeah, like he was coming around the corner. I happened to be sitting there charging up my phone, and he just like smiled and said, "Hey." He was like, "Wow!" And then, of course, I didn't say anything. I was like starstruck, like, "Oh my god, it's him!"
Also, like going on with Mike saying about going to these smaller cons, you
Mhm,
tend to have more interaction with the celebs, and they tend to be a lot more relaxed
mhm,
and willing to, if you're at a hotel and you're at the bar with them, they're more willing to you to chit chat with them about anything. It doesn't have to be Star Trek related. It can be anything related. Find out another passion they like.
mhm.
It's really nice if you both like musical instruments. It was really cool to talk to them about musical instruments or something like that.
Okay,
Why does
so
that make me think of Martok?
Martok. Oh,
You're talking about musical instruments. I understand that he
Mhm.
can jam, and so can
Oh, yeah.
Galron.
We'll be talking about Martok and Garon here in just in a little bit.
All right.
Mike, I got 2 words for you: Klingon karaoke, and we'll talk about that in a
Oh
little
my
bit.
gosh.
I have watched a live feed of that.
Was that from me? Was that from me or from somebody else? The live
It
feed?
might have been from you. It was either you or it was Ross.
Okay. Yeah, because you're not supposed to do live feeds.
Although, as a
I do it all
I,
the time.
I know, right?
I mean,
yeah,
because a lot of my friends, I'll do a lot of walkthrough lives. Like I'll record myself walking through the convention because a lot of
And
people
that's
want to see.
fine. That's
Yeah.
not what they're. That's not what they're
Oh,
complaining about.
I've done a lot of videoing and live feed of not some panels because I get really tired of holding my
Yeah.
phone up, but for some fun songs and stuff and karaoke. Yeah,
I
And
usually just do this.
yeah.
you see, you guys have gone to Star Trek Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I live through the videos that you guys do.
Oh.
And that's how I've seen what I've seen there is through that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I do it for people who can't make it.
Yeah.
It is very
Welcome
much
back,
appreciated. It's a very honorable thing to do.
Yeah, follow my Instagram because I do a lot of live videos on my Instagram.
I'll make sure to do that.
TTG goes to cons, and it's number 2.
Speaking of honorable things to do, I think that might be a good way to plug
Hmm.
to plug
Mhm.
into our next segment, which will be the next Star Trek: The Next Generation's redemption episode, featuring Worf, the son, the son of Moog, and of course there's a few other support characters in that. But mainly the story, and please feel free to jump in, Mike. But the main point of this story is that their house gets restored because because everything comes to light. Like the Klingon Empire was burying the truth because they were trying to stop a civil war, and then when the civil war happened, that they couldn't stop, and Gowron's reward for the House of Moog participating, and getting support was to restore the house's honor. That's a basic. When you say, Mike, not the
Yeah,
complete
pretty much.
picture, but
It's
basic.
like it begins with I can't remember if all right, when it comes in, one of the things that really caught me is the fact that It's a great Worf episode. And you find out just, Worf is held up as being this ultimate Klingon. But you find out just how uncomfortable he is in his Klingon shoes, if that makes sense. It's a persona that he puts on, but it's kind of like a false image because he doesn't know how to be Klingon. He's never lived among them.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that Guinan kind of pointed out when she talked about belly laughs from Klingons.
Mhm.
Klingons belly laugh. You don't. And then it also goes into Picard showing up because they're going to the home world to install Gowron as the leader. And Picard tells him, hasn't this gone on for too long? Isn't it time to reclaim your honor? That he is there as his Chadich and not as his captain.
Yeah.
And it's interesting also that later in the episodes, you see him acting as captain where he confronts him about, you're trying to use this our information from the Federation database to clear your name. But yet at the beginning of the episode, you want to smack Picard because it's like, as his Chadich, you just told him to go reclaim his honor. I mean, his family's honor and his family name. And how do you expect to do that without doing this? But Picard did well by releasing it to everybody. But it was a great episode as far as that goes because, and I did like how Worf, in a very Klingon way, went to his brother and who didn't want to follow Gowron. And I believe he was going to, what was it? Were the ones that he was with, they were actually going to kind of do their own thing, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were going to be like a third dog in the fight. But Worf was like, no, we're going to do the honorable thing and we're going to back Gowron because he is the person that should have been the commander. The chancellor of the Klingon Empire. And I find it also ironic that Worf is the one that kills Gowron later on in DS9.
Well, we'll get to that.
I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it. It's like,
so, Worf, make up your mind.
Now, the thing about Worf, I'm going to use a comparison here. I consider Worf kind of like I consider Sheldon of the Big Bang Theory. Sheldon, very smart, knows a lot of things, but when it comes to common sense or when it comes to common practices, doesn't have a clue. And I'm thinking Worf is the same way because our first taste of the Klingons we get is from the TNG series, which do not get me started. Not TNG, sorry, the TLS series, movies, not the TV series, because don't get me started on how bad those are. Now that we've seen Klingons from TNG, we've seen Klingons from the Next Generation, TNG's Next Generation, from Deep Space Nine, from Enterprise, from the other
Discovery.
shows, from Discovery, even yes,
They've
are all
grown on
better
me.
Klingons.
When they grew their hair, they grew on me.
Yeah. Well, did you like their Now we're going on a side tangent, but
Sorry.
allegedly, they said the reason they shaved their head is because of the death of Takuvma.
The ironic fact of that is they already had their head shaved before he died.
Well, his followers did.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
No, but it kind of goes back to the whole point. We're talking about Worf. And, so Worf, like Mike was saying, he knows what it is to be Klingon, but he doesn't know what it is to be Klingon.
Mm-hmm.
Like the social etiquettes of being a Klingon are beyond him. And so that's why he clings so highly to honor. Because it's the one thing he knows. It's the one thing he understands. It's rules. It's governing. And it's who Worf is, in my opinion. Worf likes that order. He likes, so when he actually interacts with other Klingons, he's like, why are we all drinking together? We were just fighting a couple hours ago,
But I love it. But with the Klingons and the way Kern goes at it, I love the fact that when they're out there, they are warriors and they are prepared to kill each other. In fact, he's drinking with a man that just tried to blow them up.
Yeah.
And I have spoken, being a photojournalist, it's like I got to fly on some World War II bombers and that were flying around as part of the Wings of Freedom tour. And during that, I actually got to meet some World War II combat pilots. And they talked about how they always respected each other. The pilots on both sides respected each other. And if they were shot down, especially in World War One, when you read the stories about that, and you see the movies, there is a level of respect because of what they are doing. And it's like, I can see that if they had had the chance to drink together, they would have. But when they're up in the skies, they're going to try and kill each other. It's just, that's the way it goes. That's the path of the warrior. And that is one of the lessons that Worf needed to learn. Things aren't black and white. There are shades of gray. And it's about respecting the honor of it all. But now when it came, they talked about the home world in First City being kind of neutral. But you notice at the end, they were bombing the Duras family estate before it was over. But I think they waited until the end, and that was like the last thing that they did. But I did find that ironic. It wasn't so neutral at that point.
Well, the Duras family is an interesting, because if you go all the way back to the time of Enterprise, has that family ever had honor?
I don't think so.
Why are they even
I don't think
allowed
so.
in the council? I mean, centuries after centuries, they keep getting back into the council or getting their foot back in the door.
I don't know, but it's like, look at Stowe. We still have the Duras family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're going to be talking
And
about
I knew that and we'll go into this one later, but I knew we were screwed when we did the missions that we're going to talk about when it sounded like we were on the side of Duras.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that, and the Duras family.
You know what? Let's go ahead and jump into that, because not necessarily the Duras, but they bring up a good point. It's like, how can you be friends with the Romulans? And then they tried to explain it. Well, we're friends with the Republic. We're not friends with the Empire, the Romulan Star Empire I'm referring to. But it's like, is there really a difference? You're still dealing with Romulans. They are the mortal enemy of the Klingon
You're
Empire.
talking about in the new episodes?
Yes,
of Stowe?
we're talking about the light remastering, but we'll jump into the featured episodes here in a minute. But even in the remastering, because I've been recently playing, I created a new character. They say in the very early in the campaign, you can't be friends with the Romulans. They're the enemy. And then what are you doing? You have the enemy. Oh, well, these guys are okay. It reminds me of Duras. Like you mentioned the Duras example. These guys are okay being Romulans because we like them. They have similar ideals to us. But the rest of these guys we don't like. It's like,
But you see, the Romulans have no honor. That's the way they're looking at the Romulan Star Empire at that point. And that's because they will betray you in a heartbeat. And when it comes to the Duras family, that's pretty much the way the Duras are. They don't have any honor.
Yeah.
It's like the warriors that they were drinking with at that time, they had honor. They fought with honor. They just happened to side on the other side.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Stowe, I don't think that we are drinking on the home world at the end of it, but we'll go into that later.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the original episodes, because I'm calling this a light remastering because this is the third time that they've remastered the Klingon Empire.
Oh,
this last one is very, very light. They've added new cutscenes. They've updated a few of the old maps. So, like for example, when you go down to Rura Pente, you don't have to kill 100 people anymore. You don't have to talk to A, B, C, and D person.
And it looks more like the movies.
Yeah,
It does, and I love what they did with the ice and the lighting and just everything they did with that one.
Yeah. My only other complaint is I really wish that if they're going to show you that cool starship scene coming down, I wish they would use the starship you have, because they have the technology to do that.
Well, they actually do not. When I played through it and created a new character, they didn't let me switch ships in the beginning. Not until after that episode was over could I switch a ship.
Oh, no,
And I think it was because they were trying to force me into that bird of prey so that I would match that cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe I did then. I don't know how I got through it, but I got my Raptor.
There are bugs and there are ways to do things.
So, I got my tier 6 Raptor, and the guy's like, I'm bringing down my ship. And then it comes a cutscene like, oh, look, it's the bird of prey.
Can you imagine if a person got into a Bortos class?
Oh, God. Yeah, the Bortos. Or the Bortus Q, even too. which is
Can you imagine if that showed up in the cutscene? All you'd see is the bottom of it.
Or
It's
a neck bar.
mhm.
or you might see the big front, and that's it.
Yeah.
That
But
thing's
if you want-
intimidating looking. Can you imagine if that thing was like looking at you straight on face and it's all bright red? It's ready to fire on you. No,
if,
but go ahead.
if you want to talk about the remastering, it's the ships that they have redone. The model work that they have put into them is just incredible. The Negavar is not the strongest ship in the game, but I'm flying one just because I love to look at that thing.
Yeah.
And I love the D7s, and I love the Katingas, and a Vorcha. I love that. Bird of Prey, I've never really been a big Bird of Prey fan, but it's still
Yeah.
cool.
Oh come on! It's like the Defiant. It's it's two guns strapped on an engine.
Pretty much.
It is. It's two guns strapped on an engine, and there's so much more. Honestly, that's like when I first started playing Star Trek Online 10 years ago. That was my favorite ship to fly was the Bird of Prey, because all the firepower that you could punch in those two little guns and hit it out, and then if you built it for that, it was a little glass cannon heavy back then, but I've managed to balance it out more nowadays. But you can still get a pretty good hit on it. No, but as far as the remastering goes, so you got that, you got the new cutscenes that are coming in, and they have some new voiceover scenes. But my only drawback to it is I wish they would have done a little bit more. You know, what I mean by that is like since they are talking about the Romulan Republic, I think they should have gone back and fixed that dialogue, and just got rid of it completely. Because how can you talk about in the beginning of the episodes that the Romulans are the enemies, and then shortly a little bit later you're like, oh, the Romulans are our friends,
That's
and
because
then they do this asinine backwards way of explaining it.
well, you can also throw in the fact that it's later in the episode. I mean, as you move forward a little bit,
Mhm.
that you run into the Republic ship.
Yeah.
And that's when you first learn about the Republic. So at the beginning, the very beginning, as far as you're concerned, there's only one set of Romulans, and that's the Empire.
Well, see, that's
But
what
I
I'm
haven't gone further in, so
I don't know. See, that's why I'm kind of curious, and I'm also kind of curious what they're going to do with the Empire when Picard season 2 comes out, because we don't know what the Empire has been doing since
this
23.
is my hope is that they continue to. We know how writers on these shows are;
Yeah.
they don't pay attention to much. But I keep hoping that they, whatever they write, that they keep in mind Stowe's timeline.
Mhm.
And what gives me hope is the fact that the Odyssey class is in the comics and in the book, even
Yeah.
that ties into the Picard series, the pre before the series hits.
Mhm.
And I took that as a good sign. But I'm hoping that that Picard timeline fits into Stowe. I'd hate to see Stowe have to be completely rewritten to match Picard, or Stowe exist as a separate entity. I like having the shows playing well with the game, and so far that's what they've been trying to do. It's like the Discovery episodes. Yes, it's in the past, but they found a way to make it relevant to what we're doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, so yeah, I see where you're coming at, and I definitely agree. It's a little frustrating because they not only did they do this for Klingons, but sorry, somebody sent me messages for Klingons, but they also did it to the Romulans too. You also get a light remastering of the Romulans also, but not as much as they did for the Klingons. The
Yeah.
Klingons definitely got a lot more love, which is what I really appreciate that. And you are right about the ships being more better.
Mhm.
I'm just curious what's going to happen next. Should we kind of jump ahead to the spoiler?
What do you think about before we do? What do you think
Okay.
about the remastered Klingon looks, the hair and the face, where you have the Klingon rugged features now?
I like them, but the only thing I'm really kind of sad about is they didn't give us the backside. They only gave us the bling on. I'm sorry, JJ or Kelvin timelines. Klingon. They only gave us the backlit for those, but they won't give it to us for Discovery. Even though because Gowron's backside looks awesome. All that the skull ridges on the back. going all the way around.
I'm wondering if that's yet to come,
I hope it
but
is.
I don't know. We don't know what's still. They've hinted at the fact that there is more to unleash on us in addition to episodes,
Mhm.
but we don't know what it includes. They won't tell us. I almost feel like they're being too tight-lipped with this. Yeah, they gave us some hints, but we knew more about the legendary Federation ships and Federation updates than we do the Klingon.
Now, speaking of what Mike's talking about, if you guys look on Scott's screen, you can actually see the updated skins, and they are awesome.
Yeah.
I really like the one on the far left for Scott there, and of course the Chancellor doesn't look bad either. But I like the females too, because you can definitely tell it's a different style, which is kind of nice. It's not like, oh, we're gonna take a male skull piece and throw it on a Klingon female's face, and it just looks all weird. That's the other thing I like too. They did do that part, which I'm grateful. But like I said, I'd like to see. I don't know. I mean, I've been experimenting with wanting to see more of the ridges and maybe using the top knot. I wouldn't mind seeing more. Is what I'm saying. So like when you see the side of their skin, you actually see the ridges that go all the way back that you saw in Discovery, that you see in Gowron's updated character in the new featured
Mhm.
episodes.
And there are so many hairstyles and such that you see
Mm.
on characters in the episodes that you don't see in the mix. And
And then
whether it be Gowrons or it be Martox or it be Worfs. And there are just so many pieces. I understand keeping some of this stuff unique, but come on, man. Klingons haven't had much love for a long time. Give it all to us.
what? Oh, speaking of Klingons and revamping, why did they revamp Worf's outfit?
Why did they?
Yeah, I like it, but it's just
I
like
don't know, but I do like it better than the old one.
I do. I agree with you. I do too.
I feel like the old one was just kind of a hodgepodge of parts that were already in the game. And they changed some colors on it to make it look different. But this one are unique pieces. I would love to have that outfit.
And I due to a time constraint of them trying to finish up and get that out. And now that they've had more time to work on the remastered Klingon content, they were able to go back and update it.
well, because this is the third time Worf's been remastered. Remember the original Worf? Frizzy
Yeah,
hair Worf.
yeah.
It looks like that. He probably downed like 4 or 5 energy drinks. What kind of Worf? Wow, it was horrible. And then when they actually hired Michael Dorn and they went through and they finally updated his character, which I was very happy. And I actually liked the old uniform. That's why I was kind of surprised that they got rid of it.
I heard someone say that they hope that outfit gets released into the game. They'd love to see it for there as a character option. Even if it is like a redo of some of the outfits that we already have, the colors are different,
Yeah.
especially the sash. The sash is what I want. We can never have enough sashes. We still need our great coat.
STO loves to pride themselves on their customization options.
But yet the sashes have never been really customizable. The only one that you can really change the color on is the Bortos one, and it's just too plain.
True that. I know what you're talking about. All right, so should we jump into the featured episode?
Go for it.
All right, so this is going to be a spoiler. If you guys haven't watched this, sorry, but we're going to talk about it. Mike, your first reaction. Jenny, you haven't played this, right? Are you okay?
Nah, I don't play Stowe.
Mike, your first
I'm
reaction.
working on it.
Have you played him, Scott?
Yeah, I have. I'm saying I'm working on trying to get Jenny to play him.
Oh, okay. Mike, what was your first reaction when you found out that that Jaula is not as evil as we think she is?
I love the twist.
Scott, you too?
Personally, I do not want her to be chancellor.
I don't think she will be. That's not. I don't think that's the goal she's going for.
Who is the one person that everybody wants to see chancellor?
Martok.
Martok. It was an interesting turn, and I feel like in the end we did the honorable thing. What got me the most is the fact it ended with us. We have no allegiance right now.
Well, we still have our allegiance to the Federation if you're playing a Federation character.
With that, I don't know. I haven't played the Federation on this one. All I know is that we are being hunted by the Empire.
Yeah.
As a Klingon warrior. Is the Federation not hunting you?
I didn't get that impression. What do you think, Scott? Because you probably played Fed too.
Yeah, I did play. Yeah, I didn't get that impression either. That we're being hunted. And maybe that's a plot twist for playing a pure Klingon character.
True. So you guys haven't played the pure Klingon?
No.
For us, we are being hunted. We are outcast. Basically, the Chancellor has pledged himself to hunt us down and kill us.
Oh, I'm definitely going to play that.
So we are kind of on the run and hiding out. But you saw that we saved the folks on Kittimer, as many as we could. So we have witnesses, including the chairman of the Kittimer Alliance.
What Mike's talking about right there is where you learn that Jaula is not necessarily the enemy, and that we're being deceived.
Yeah. It was interesting how that all came about, because that was in that second episode toward the end.
Yeah.
And it made me step back and look at a couple of things from the first part of the episode, some subtle things, like this is where the remastered episodes really were cool.
Okay.
Because if you go back and if you watch them, the House of Torg, isn't that the house that we basically go up against in the very first episodes when we make a character and we basically, we tear down his house?
Yeah, they're the ones with the Romulan connection.
Exactly. But I don't know if you caught it in the redo, when you are standing before the High Council and he is defending himself, he looks at Jimpak and he says, "I'm not doing anything that you didn't do. You worked with the Romulans as well." And he's like, "We're supposed to work with the Romulans and this stuff."
Yeah, I caught that. That was the weak excuse I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah. And what that is that was him trying to cover his butt, because I believe that he has been bad all along. And it was someone trying to say that when I was talking to others and we were trying to figure out, is Martok still the Chancellor of the Empire, as Jaula was trying to tell the High Council? I believe that he is, because I believe that Jimpak he's the one and the reason that Martok is still alive, which means he didn't genuinely kill Martok.
So let's talk about that briefly, because that was a few episodes back. Because we know we find Martok in prison.
Yes.
Again. First you find him in prison on DS9, then in STO you find him in prison. But what was his... I don't remember exactly. I haven't got to that point in the remastering.
He said that Torg, originally when they did the episodes in... which war was it? War Arc.
Iconian?
Was it the Iconian? No, it wasn't the Iconian. It was the one after. Oh, shoot. What do you call the dudes that have the 3 legs?
Oh, the Zenkethi.
The Zenkethi. It's during that, because the Zenkethi don't like him. And he made it sound like Torg is the one who brought him back to life. But I'm getting the impression from the remasters that it was probably Jimpak that brought him back and he gave him the Torg. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
Wait. So he was dead and then he got brought back to life?
Well, supposedly he was killed by Jimpak.
Yeah.
They battled over the chancellorship when Jimpak challenged him. And if I remember correctly, I believe that it was supposedly after he was dead and was removed that Torg got a hold of his body and brought him back.
Even though Torg isn't a member of the Klingon noble houses.
He was at that point. Because remember, this would have taken place before the episodes where you create your character. So Torg would have still been head of his house. Or at least that's my take on it. I need to go back and play those. I need to make myself go through and actually play all these episodes all over again.
So that's what I'm doing it too, because those questions, especially after playing on my Federation character, that's why I immediately started a Klingon character so I can do that and try to get some of those things. Like I said, I don't like the weak excuse, and now that you connected that piece for me, it makes a little more sense.
Yes.
Somebody's breathing pretty heavy. Thank you. But so it makes a little more sense. But in the same token, we have these Klingons. Where on the Klingon side, you're on the run. On the Federation side, you don't know who you can trust, but you kind of have the Federation, maybe. So that might be questionable. Wouldn't you say that's fair, Scott?
I would.
Yeah. You know that if you
And
go back to the heart of the Federation, they'd probably protect you, but the Klingons would demand your immediate arrest. You know what I mean? So I
mhm.
can kind of see what Mike's saying. Yeah. Even, you know,
So do you?
basically, I think they would say is keep your head low, radio silence as much as possible.
So do you want to know where I am hiding out?
Sure.
There's only one group that will give me sanctuary right now.
Oh, what do we got here?
Ooh.
Oh,
You recognize it?
Yes.
yes, I recognize that. You're hiding out in the Alliance?
Of course. Who else is going to protect me? We just saved their ass. Think about it. Now, seriously, let me segue just a second and say that Gates of Stovacor, what we're actually planning to do is, this has got us all excited. We were talking about bringing the show back,
Yeah,
the radio drama,
yeah. It's
for some time. Ross, myself, and David are all on board, and I bet Sori comes in before it's over. And we had talked about, what have these guys been up to? And then these episodes hit. And you want to talk about something that has got us excited. We're planning to do a series that go into our characters, our three characters were in that episode as far as we're concerned together.
Okay.
And what happens after it while we're on the lam and how we do it. And right now, all I can say is that I see Hauk going after the house of Jempak. I see him doing whatever he can to cause as much mischief as he can. And he will become a pirate of sorts. His flagship is called the Queen Anne Bortas, which is named after Queen Anne's revenge. So he is going to be inspired by Blackbeard. We're going to see we're going to have a lot of fun with these stories. But Ross and I have already been talking about where we think these characters would be, and we're already working on scripts. So look for this. We're going to have some fun with it.
Yes, guys. So Gates of Stovacor was a radio drama production, and I don't know when you guys stopped doing them, but you guys still have
It's
your
been a
website?
couple of years.
I remember.
Like gatesofstovacor.com, right?
Used to be. You can find the website is gone. It disappeared when oh shoot, what was the show that Sori was with?
G&T?
Yes, when that show went down,
Beaver Production, yeah.
Yeah, the website pretty much went with them
Oh, wow.
because we were on the same server. But our episodes are on YouTube.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So
I'll have to try to find those.
they're still out there.
Nice. We should put those on the Play 31, Jenny. We should make a note of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, but as far as I want to know what happens. Do you think we're going to get the answer in there's something else in STO too, but do you think we're going to get the answer in the fall next, what do you want to call it? I wouldn't call it a expansion. I guess the next installment of the next season?
It's the second half of this arc, is
The
I guess
second
the
half of this
best way to
season?
put it.
I'm not sure that the second half was going to solve the whole thing, but I will say this. One of the things that I was listening to Captain Gecko talk about and some of the others, the big game change. Remember how last year at STLV, I believe it was, they talked about how there was going to be in the next year, there was going to be some game changing thing that happened that was going to change everything.
I think this is it.
We haven't seen it yet.
You don't think so?
For what he says,
Yeah,
it's coming in like probably the next update.
So,
which makes me wonder if we're going to see the walls come down on fleets.
I'm wondering then
between the Feds and the KDF.
maybe it's going to be the season, not the next season 10 point, what is 20.5, but maybe in the next expansion.
Yeah.
So that would be 2021.
So what do
Yeah.
you think this game changing thing is going to be? I think it's going to be fleets.
I don't know. I was kind of hoping for Star Trek 2.0.
No, I don't think they're going to redo that.
Yeah, they won't redo that.
Well, I don't know because I cannot confirm nor deny, wink wink, but I got invited. I may have been invited to play the new Alpha Legends or Magic the Gathering alpha testing.
Hmm.
So
Ooh.
more gameplay, more maps, more potentially. We'll see. Because remember when Neverwinter came out, we got a lot of new updates. So I'm kind of wondering if it's tied into Magic the Gathering and their release.
So do you know of any new technologies that are coming from that they might port into this game?
I like I said, I may or may not have, and it doesn't start till tomorrow. So I don't know yet, man. Honestly, I don't think Cryptic's watching.
Yeah, and you couldn't say anyway. You don't want to ruin your chances.
Yeah, all I can say is that yes, I am. I have signed an NDA, and I have to wait till tomorrow. But if you guys are interested in wanting to join it yourself, all you have to do is go to ARC and go to follow the links to select a beta, and they'll put you in the pool for alpha testing. And so you have a chance of getting in as an alpha tester, probably the third round, not this round. This is the second. But it'll also the reason I'm doing it is because I like Magic the Gathering, but I'm also kind of curious to see what new features they have over there that they might be able to port over. Maybe because when Al talks about big feature game changes, besides obviously having maybe Martok be the Chancellor, because I remember. Okay, let me
What if
finish my original
you
thought.
become
I
the
want to get back.
chancellor?
Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. But but as
You don't
far
want
as
to see Hauk as chancellor of the Klingon Empire?
I didn't say Hook couldn't. I just said I don't want to be. No, but I'm saying is so you got the Klingons right, and you got this story arc, and we're building up to it. But I don't think we're gonna. I don't know. I mean, because Al Rivera did say a while back that the reason they can't kill off Jempok is because it would ruin the gameplay mechanics. There's so many things that are tied in. So I'm hoping this remastering
That
unlock those
might be it.
tie-ins. Yeah, unlocked all those tie-ins, and maybe that's a big game changer that they're talking about, or maybe more conservatively because STO takes a very conservative approach when it comes to their gameplay. They don't do it. They don't do big expansions anymore. They keep it minimum, and you're breathing pretty heavy again, Jenny. When you read it, there you go.
The
But
one thing that my fellow people like Gates of Stovacor always talked about is the dishonor that Jim Pock represented. And we always felt that he needed to be removed from office. But of course, there was nothing we could do because we did not control that storyline.
yeah,
However, it would be great to see Martok become chancellor. And if not Martok, there's one other person because he may pull the card that he's already done and he doesn't want to do it again. How would you feel about the witch being the one? She is, oh shoot, the Iconium missions where you run into basically the Klingon version of the Dirty Dozen type. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Kalis was the group that Kalis was with. They had no house.
Okay. Yeah, them.
And
I know you're talking about.
she is actually, oh shoot.
I wanted to kill her.
Who is the person that voices Landry?
That's the same person.
She is now voicing that character.
Oh wow.
And she is the character. She's the lady that leads us out of Kittimer, out of the basement of Kittimer. She is part of Joula's house.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, I don't think Joula would get it. And if Martok doesn't get it, I wouldn't be surprised if she does because she loves the game.
Okay. I would
She
love.
loves
I would
voicing
love to have another female chancellor. Since you're a resident Klingon, maybe you can explain this to me in all of its idiocracy. 2 times that the Empire has made revolutionary changes for the betterment of the Empire, I will say, you might disagree with me here, have been under female chancellors.
Hmm.
So why are they banned?
Because they make the
running?
men look bad. Think about it.
Well, come on. Laurel says she's the mother of the empire.
Whenever you come into it and a woman makes a male look bad, then the men go out of their way to push women's rights down. And then, they got to work their way back up. No, in all honesty, I don't know. But all I know is that Mother of Klingons is, I love the character and I love the actress.
Yeah,
and Undiscovered Country of the TOS movies, that is my favorite.
Mhm.
The only one that might challenge it is Wrath of Khan. But to me, this one has Klingons, and I love that. And I love the story arc, and I love the fact that it's been a female chancellor that took over for her father.
Yeah.
Gorkon. And I've always found it odd that she was chancellor, and yet we never had. Oh, even in TNG, they talk about how no female can stand on the council. Gowron says that a couple of times, and it's something I would love to see end. I would love to see another female. But if I have a choice between that and Martok, who's the one that's going to bring the players into the game? Martok. But I guess what it might come down to is,
well, Worf has a legitimate claim too. He did kill Gowron.
Yeah.
Because technically, Martok did not kill Gowron.
But Worf isn't being as...
I know. I'm just saying.
He isn't being as straight. He's in the episodes, but he isn't the one that we're following around as much.
J.G. Hertzler is definitely a bigger pull, in my opinion. But if we're talking about wanting to restore honor in the Empire, I can see that being... I don't think this will happen, but ideally or dream-wise, I would love to see Worf be it.
Yeah.
To restore the honor, to restore people. And then, of course, he's pretty badass with the bat'leth.
Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to time. Who has the most time to give to the game?
Yeah.
And it might be that Hertzler has the time to do it. Or, a lot of people are saying that that's why we won't see Martok, is he doesn't have the time. So I don't know. But the actress that does Landry, some of the best episodes until these were the disco episodes when you would roll a disco character.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were on that frozen planet and you were following her, I loved her performance in those episodes. It made me care about a character that to me in Discovery was a throwaway.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Sela. Sela in TNG was a throwaway character. But yet look at her in Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
She is the voice of the Romulans.
And I love to side tangent just for 2 seconds, how you can be so snarky to her in the game. I love that. It made me crack up so many times.
But the other thing I was talking about, as far as I don't want to get off the topic of Klingons, but I wanted to address what I was mentioning a minute ago about another direction they could possibly go with the second half of the season is we still haven't seen Captain Killy. Not Captain Killy, but Captain Killy is still out there.
I love her.
I love that persona. And
you want to talk about,
maybe her and Jempok get together.
Okay, everybody has got to have a crush on a character.
Yeah.
In Star Trek. All right. Galloway, who is your crush on?
On character on Star Trek?
Or the character in Star Trek. Who have you got a crush on?
Which series are we talking about?
Any of them.
Any of them. Wow. That's a good question.
While he thinks, how about you, Jenny?
No, mine would have been
Okay.
T'Pol.
Which one?
T'Pol.
T'Pol. Okay. And you?
If it's current as in as themselves that age, not as them now. Bashir and Wesley were my two big.
And Scott?
Obviously, 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan.
Really?
And for me, she's good. But for me, It's Tilly.
Oh,
I can
I
see
can't
that.
help
Yeah.
it.
I can see
And I
Tilly.
think it has to do with the fact that she represents the everyday
Hmm.
person. And I could see any fan of Star Trek, walking in her shoes. But yeah. And the fact of how she just, and that in the comments that she makes, the character makes when she's on screen, it's like, I love it when she is told to sit in the captain's chair and pretend to be Tilly.
Yes.
My
And she
Yes.
she just snaps into that character and talks about cutting his tongue out and using his tongue.
that's my favorite line.
Oh, goodness.
I'm gonna cut your tongue out and
no,
use it
come
to
on! If
clean
you
my
want to talk
shoes.
about awesome female characters,
Oh,
Tig,
Who?
Tig, I don't know,
Oh, the engineer.
Tig Notaro. Yes.
Tig Notaro
yes.
is awesome. You want to talk about people who can really lay out a performance, and she has such a dry humor like Tim Russ does,
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
but she is
Well,
phenomenal.
she's kind of like the bones of Discovery, like the way his humor was for Discovery.
And I'm so
Mhm.
glad she's going into season 3.
Yes.
Yes,
They
she
needed
will
that.
be.
Just make sure you have a lot of duct tape.
We have
Oh,
an
when she
analogy to
first
fix
said
that.
duct tape, I about fell out of my chair.
I love the
Uh,
fights between her and Stamets. I'm sorry, we're gonna go back to Klingons here in a second, but I love that she's like, I could fix things with duct tape, and he's like, me and her, you and the mycelium species have about much in common as me and the grease monkey. She's like, I can fix that duct.
God, I love
They
that.
are the Spock and Bones of that
Oh
show.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing I like about it is, like they have such a diverse cast on Discovery, and they have a diverse cast on Picard. Speaking of shows coming up, I do want to get back on the Klingons. I do not want to spend a lot of time on this. What I've seen of the one trailer looks like Lord Dexa has a diverse cast. He has a neurotic guy and the overtop everybody's best friend kind of loving female character. What I mean? That she's obviously a troublemaker. She's gonna get him in a lot of trouble. Or actually they're all gonna get in trouble together.
Black shields on, black shields,
She was off.
Yeah.
shields on.
Did you see that somebody wanted to create that into a ringtone?
They're like, stop.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't
Oh,
wait.
and then you have the scene at the end where she walks into the shuttle and he spins around and he's naked.
Yes.
And you have that little black box.
Oh no, not this. Oh no. I think she would have been a great Klingon. I mean, the voice actor.
Mhm.
I hope that maybe she does get some future work in Klingons. I think she'd make a great Klingon. Her voice, her personality.
Oh my
I think she
gosh.
would. I think she'd be badass at it. I'm trying to plug us back into Klingons. But as
Well,
far
we could
as
just move on to
no,
general
not
topic.
yet.
Okay. Okay.
I wanted to address the whole idea that as far as what we do know in Star Trek Online right now is we're kind of exiled, but we're not. We haven't been officially exiled, but the Empire is trying to hunt us down. We know that
You haven't been officially exiled.
on the
We,
Federation.
The Klingons have.
we're on the land, man.
Okay, so we can say on both sides of the house that you're on the run per se. You can technically go home on the Federation side, but it's not recommended because you would literally have to go like into the heart of the Federation, and I'm pretty sure the Klingons would call for your head and demand that you be dragged back to the Empire.
So if
Yeah.
I give them your head, I'm back in with Jimpock.
No,
Sure.
Okay. Are you ready to take over the fleet?
wow, Jenny, wow.
I mean, you already kicked me off, so I need to kick you off now.
I see how this is.
Permanently.
I feel like Scott has been picked on tonight.
Scott hasn't been picked on enough. I mean, we could start on him. Yeah, there's something missing on his hand.
That's a running joke between us, Mike. When you watch the show, you probably hear us talk about that all the time.
Put a ring on it.
Put a ring on it. No, but as far as you're right. They may not complete this in the next 2 episodes, but I'm kind of hoping because I don't know. I mean, in the same token, I don't think 2 episodes is going to be enough to complete the story arc of the Klingons. and for this big major change, I would like to see STO do something like they did in the old days. Maybe like 5, 6, or 7 episodes to complete it.
I think that's what we're getting. Because the other thing that makes me believe that is this is all Gecko's brainchild, which is funny because Klingons have felt for years
Hmm.
that Al Rivera hates Klingon players. And then come to find out, he is the brainchild behind this. And he has wanted to do this for years. And I think that he is going to drag this out. I think that what we're going to see is like the Iconian War, where it started, and then you had the middle, and then you had the end.
Hmm.
I think we've seen the start, and the Civil War is about to get real. We're going to probably see the lines defined, and we'll see it take shape.
You think
And
we're
it's
gonna
going to be interesting to see how that happens if that's the case.
You think we're going to Civil War?
Yeah, I think we're already in a Civil War. It's just at this point, some of the characters are about to swap because Martok was on Jempok's side. We were on Jempok's side, and now we're on the opposite side. And remember the Klingon flagship?
Yeah.
She actually was in the middle of all this. She's like, I know these people. They are honorable.
Yeah.
And so if they say this, I believe them. And I think that we're going to come down to that aspect. It's going to be interesting to see.
Do you think they're
Now,
gonna
I
do
could
it?
be wrong, and it could be over next in the next one, but I have a feeling that it's going to spread a little bit.
Do you think
Yeah,
it'll be like they did the last expansion, which was Discovery, do 2 episodes and do another 2 episodes and do another 2 episodes?
mhm.
Or do you
Yeah,
think
because
they'll
they
do like
said
one?
this will stretch into 2021.
And I have a feeling it'll probably end for Stowe's 11th anniversary next year.
Yeah.
That would be a good guess. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm. I don't want to wait that long.
I know, right?
Well, I
Tell
mean,
me
don't get me
about
wrong. STO has pretty good episodes as of late,
Mhm.
but this one I felt like it was something a little more love
Well,
service to the fans.
yes, and I loved how you had that pressure too, where when that wave hits Kittimer and you're trying to run out of there,
Yeah.
if you left something behind, you couldn't go back without dying.
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you know that if you rescue all of the people, that there's an accolade that you get.
Yes.
I did know that.
I haven't done it, but
Oh, yeah,
I
you got all of them?
do know that it's that if you can save them all, and it when it jumps, it jumps. You're right. You cannot get, and at the very end, you are stuck in that one little corner.
Hmm
Yeah. And
I
then
like
the
that. It's
cutscene
like,
kicked in.
yeah,
Like,
I know. I like it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up! I'm working on it.
I want to see how the Ilachi are going to fit more into this because I have a feeling that we're going to see more of the rebel faction of the Ilachi in this as well.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Tell me.
you excited for the Ilachi too?
No, I think she read something. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Just perfect timing.
The room. I'll tell you
Perfect
that.
timing. All right, so I guess so. For those who haven't played, I'd recommend that you play. It's a lot of fun. I mean, the new episodes are literally feel like the next level. The game has been taken to the next level, and I
With
kind of
Discovery, it did.
yeah.
Everything has been swinging upward since then. I keep saying this is the best episode, and then they release another one, and then it's the best episode. But what more can you ask for? This is not only high quality stuff, high quality shows, but it's Klingons.
Yeah, I can't ask for more.
There isn't anything beyond Klingons.
Mhm.
We are the pinnacle.
So at this point, I think we're gonna segue into general talk, but because we're running low on time, because Jenny needs to
Mhm.
leave soon.
I got work.
Mm.
Are you? Always, they gonna keep you on Graveyard forever?
I don't know. I'm actually doing 311s on this weekend.
Okay. Also, all swings.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yay.
I mean, I don't mind graveyard right now. I'd rather be doing graveyard because I don't interact with as many people as I would if I worked, the early mornings and the mid shifts. So,
Okay.
but yay me.
I know, right? As far as man, now that we're in general talk, I can't wait to. But I still want to talk about the Klingons. Mainly because I think it's because Mike's here. No, it's just there's so much to do in the video game. There's so much going on in the TV series. We're
Also,
about
don't
ready.
forget about
Go ahead.
about summer event.
I was getting ready to go into
Mhm.
that. Now we're about ready to have the summer event, which I do not know why they're pushing it off because that's going to be at least 25 days. Maybe because they needed a little extra time.
I heard something that they may be tying that into Lower Decks. The release with that, there might be something we're gonna get for summer event, along with everything else you're telling us about.
I can
hope
tell
it's
you
not
one
that.
thing I expect. You know how they release a drink with each one?
Hmm.
What is the margarita or whatever that they're all having? Shaking, when it's in one of the commercials where they
Mhm.
actually make a reference to
Mm-hmm.
this space margarita or something. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the drinks on Rise Up, but I do expect more than that as well.
I seriously hope we don't get that ship in the game. We do
Oh,
not need Cerritos.
That's the most pointless ship I've ever seen.
Yeah.
that would look, if you look at it from certain angles, it looks awesome. But then you realize it's got no neck.
It
Yeah.
does. Wait a second. It does?
It does not.
No. You said it looks awesome from certain angles. I'm like, it does.
From above, I love the way it looks from above going down. But
Hmm.
when you change your position and you start to see it has no neck, it loses it.
For me, it's the pylons.
Yeah.
Saucers
It's
up
just
here. Your nacelles are down here.
here, and there's nothing in between, basically.
Maybe that's why it's second contact and not first.
But you still think you'd want to make a good impression. Can you imagine the Klingons? They'd be like, "Yeah, this isn't worth blowing up."
Like, can you imagine it's like one turbo lift to go from the top from the bottom, and you're like waiting in line to get that one turbo lift
Dude,
because that neck's so tiny. Like, it's just one little.
The Cerritos is like the Kazon. Even the Borg won't assimilate them.
And it's probably worse than that. It's probably not even a turbo lift. You probably just have Jeffrey's tubes that you just climb down.
Oh my god! Stairs, whole bunch of stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Escalators that don't work. There you go.
So,
Oh wait, that's conventions.
Mike,
Sorry.
I don't know if you're watching that show, but Jenny and I are picking on the old berth. This ship reminds me of the old berth because there are a couple
Oh, yeah.
lower decks. So, like, what do? One to transport to the lower section in space.
And then what happened?
You gotta use the restroom. You better wait. For that one restroom.
I do love the bit. Oh, God. They're going to have restrooms in this one.
I
Because
hope
They
so.
have to. I mean, they're
I
cleaning
hope
up
so.
their waste in the
Exactly.
holodeck in the commercial. So
So we're fine. That's finally going to be answered. But the other thing that I love is when they're looking at the master systems display, and it's like here, and it's like no, all the way down.
Down.
yeah,
It reminds me of the guy on Voyager that was at the furthest most point of the ship, and it was where he chose to be because he knew no one would bother him there.
hmm
And then Janeway shows up and drags him out, kicking and screaming, and puts him on the Delta Flyer with other misfits. That I honestly feel like we are about to see the cartoon version of that, which
We
could
got
be
the
quite,
neurotic guy.
which is going to be very entertaining.
That's what I like
can't
about
wait.
this cartoon is we know we know you're not supposed to take it seriously.
Yes,
Yeah.
We know that it's going to be funny.
but it's also supposed to be considered canon, isn't it?
You'll have people argue with you on that one.
Well, they're always going to argue.
Well, everybody says that all animations and comics aren't canon. At best, you can get soft beta canon out of them. Now, what STO is going to do with it, I don't know. I mean, and if the only thing I could think of is if STO actually does anything from the show and they release that ship, they'll make the ship look better.
This is true.
Yeah. Especially if Thomas Maroney works on it.
Yeah.
There is one ship that's Federation that I want, and they will release it at some point. What is the one that is from the DS9 documentary?
Documentary.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
It's the one. It's the one that they would have released if they had gone another season.
Yeah. It's named after that famous African American. Why am I forgetting
Okay.
his name?
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the the design for it.
Yeah, that looked like a cool ship.
Hmm.
And I need something that would pry me out of my Constitution class flight deck cruiser because that seems to be about the only ship that I run on the Fed side.
Hey, what about the NX?
I
The NX
just keep going
35.
back to the Constitution, to
Yeah.
the Disco Prize.
Did you see that the NX was offered now in the mud market?
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest. I like the legendary version of it better than I like the one that's in the Lobby store.
No, okay, let's talk about that briefly since Jenny's not here anyways, but we'll talk about it if she's here regardless. But what do you think about that $300 for the three ships and they're all account unlocks?
I think it's actually a fairly good deal. Not 300, but when they drop the price to the 50% off,
Yeah, it's
that's kind of
100,
reasonable.
150, I think.
It's kind of like it was tempting. I was tempted by the current pack that's about to end, that's
Mhm.
on sale again, the temporal ships. But the only reason I'm not doing that is because, well, I've already got them on the characters I want them on. So other than that, I'm saving everything I've got for the possibility of a Klingon Legends pack. And honestly, everything I've got, I have been mining dilithium for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I have mined $140 worth of dilithium just by creating characters, pushing them up, doing the reputation system, claiming the dilithium, and then after it's finished, dropping them.
And the Admiralty too. The Admiralty system will get you
Yeah.
dilithium.
Mhm.
But those are held by vouchers that are harder to use.
True. I'm just saying that they do offer dilithium though.
Yeah.
But as far as the where was I going with that? No, as far as the like the
The
dilithium
NX.
and no, I know. But I'm saying as far as that dilithium, that is a great way, especially during this during this
Mhm.
recession. That we're not technically in the recession yet, but we're literally right on the skirts. I don't know if I was Cryptic Studios if I would be releasing like $300 ships and trying to charge people right now.
But I do believe that what they're doing is they're preparing themselves for the fact that lock boxes are going to become not legal in certain countries.
See, I wouldn't mind if they did what they're doing right now and then eventually do the lockbox run first and then offer them in 3 packs and then just rotate them. You might get me to buy a couple of them that
Yes.
way, especially like the Lost Arena is one of the ones I want, but
Yes.
I'm not willing to throw a billion credits into it to try to get it, and I'm definitely not going to open a crap load of or buy a bunch of resource packs. Even though I do love the resources, don't get me wrong, I do love my R&D resources, but I'm starting to fill up on a lot of those.
I think the other mistake they're making is they are putting them to where you have to get three things to try and get more money out of you.
Yeah,
I think they'd be better off doing like $60 for it or something like that, where it's twice the amount of a regular C store ship, but it's still an unlock.
yeah,
And some people have suggested that if you get a lockbox ship, something else that they should do is you unlock it on your account and you can reclaim it for like a smaller amount of Zen.
yeah. Zen cost like a reclaim or a dilithium.
Yeah, but you have to win it and get or buy it first to do that. But I'd rather have a ship that I can put on any character I want. Because how many times have you gotten a hold of a ship like that and then you realize, actually, I wish I had opened it on this character over here once you start playing with it?
Mhm.
And there's no way to box them up and ship them over.
Yeah, like my T5 Mobius is pretty much worthless,
Hmm.
and I don't know if I really want to invest in upgrading it to a T6.
It's a nice ship, but the problem with it, it only has 4 weapons on the front.
Yeah,
If it had 5, it would be better. And that's honestly, that was one of the deciding things for me as to why I didn't get the pack that's in there now.
yeah. Well, there's 2 packs in there, right? Currently,
Mhm.
and I think the first one you're talking about is getting ready to expire. And
Yeah,
the other
the
one's going to
temporal
be
one.
in there, which I'm wondering if that means what the next set's going to be. Which don't I kind of like the first one, but I'm not going to get it because I don't really need a Husnuk ship. I don't really need the I don't know what that little black one's called. The Marie class one.
Yeah.
I don't really need that one. I mean, maybe. Okay, what I'd like to see, and I know Al Rivera hinted at this before when they were talking about if they ever did a Ferengi, they might do like a pirate-based version of it where you could play. I wouldn't mind seeing that, and then throw the Lost Arena in there. Throw a different style of gameplay in there. Maybe you're a trader, not a traitor, but a trader with a D. And you're going around and you're trying to gather resources. You're working with the Federation. You have contracts. You have working with the Romulans. You have contracts. I'd like to see something like that. Maybe your main currency is gold pressed platinum. You know, instead of whatever the other thing is. I don't know. I mean, it's just different things. I'd like to see more from this game.
Kind of like a privateer faction.
Yeah, a private. Oh, I love a
Privateer / traders, depending on which side of the fence you are.
Speaking of Picard, or because I know I'm jumping a little bit, but trust me, it's still on topic. I would love to see something like that. You know where that place they took Picard and Seven went and killed everybody down below because of Egypt? What was the name of that place?
Oh, I know.
Oh, what is that place called?
All the ads at you when you first arrived in orbit.
It was like Free City or something like that.
Free Cloud.
Free Cloud, yeah, Free Cloud.
Maybe that could be like the home operations. Like you start on Free Cloud and you become your own private entrepreneur.
And you have 3 paths that you could choose.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a trader, you could be a privateer, or you could be a pirate.
Or mercenary pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we've already got a mercenary outfit, so there you go.
And it would plug into what what they're doing in Picard, because he's not necessarily in Starfleet anymore. He is I wouldn't say he's a mercenary. He's not really a trader. What would you rather call him? He's more like a freelancer at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's going to meet up with Guinan in season 2. That's all we know.
Pretty much, that's all we know.
I wonder if he'll hook up with the Rangers. The Finnish Rangers. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Finnish
Rangers. Yeah.
I think that 709 will go over there. Now, but as far as I don't think that's something that's on their drawing board, but it would be nice because they have talked about it in the past. But given the fact that all these shows are coming out, they're going to need to find something. Either they're going to have to do what they've been doing, which is play a year behind. So whatever is going on in game, it's always a year after. So when that season completes, then they can play with the canon a little bit. I think a little less with Picard. Because you don't really know where it's going still, and it's not moving forward. It's not the end of the Klingon War, So we'll see what they get to do. But I know, we're running close on time. How much time do you have left, Jenny, before you have to go?
2 minutes.
Jenny wanted to bring up something, so we're going to have to segue out of this. And she wanted to bring an update about the cruise.
Yes. So they just announced last night, that they are postponing the 2021 cruise to 2022. Oh. And so you have basically almost 15 months to pay it off now?
15 months.
So you have about 15 months. So if you want to sign up, opening booking will be July 28th. So it will be February 26th through March 5th of 2022.
Okay.
Scott and I went ahead and we upgraded because it's we already started paying on our cruise, and so we're halfway through paying already. So since we have almost 15 months to pay it off now, rather than a year, that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I just want to let you know that if you're interested, July 28th will be the day that you can open booking. Okay. I don't think Scott and I are on land. We could have created a landing party, but I think if you book and you put down our names, you get $100 credit and we get $100 credit on the cruise.
We'll talk later. I'll have to talk to my wife. But
so instead of $1,600, it becomes $1,500.
Well, you still have to pay. It's like $100 onboard credit. So you can use it for the restaurants or buying things on the ship, stuff like that. It's not like an extra, like a discount.
For all the blood wine you buy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Romulan ale.
Yep, they have that there.
Mm-hmm.
And chaotic as death ray. Oh, that was delicious. I don't know what it was.
Talk to you about this with you, Jenny, but the rest of us can
Yep.
kick on. But it's
Yep, I
almost
have to go get ready for work. Y'all can have fun
Yeah,
talking.
Jay, I gotta pop off too. I gotta go take care
Okay.
of a pup. So
all right then.
leave it to you guys.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, Scott. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, guys.
And this is where we do this. Remove. Okay, they removed themselves.
So, are you ready to surrender yet?
No. I'm sticking with the fleet, man.
Oh, you can still stick with the fleet, but you become subject to the Klingon Empire. Change your flags.
Change my flags. There you go.
Get rid of the USS and put an IKS on there. Or IKV.
Oh, okay. So she's gone. We can talk more freely. I didn't want to give you too many spoilers, but what do you think about the Federation ships being used against them?
Oh, the
During
virus.
the featured episode, yeah.
I find that very interesting, and that ties back into the episodes that we played in the Discovery arc as well, because it reminded me of when the guns were turned on us at the prison.
Yeah,
when we did that, but that was a nice touch. And then you have to go through and repair these ships, and the same thing happens to Klingon ships. And no, it doesn't. I was thinking that you ended up having that did the same thing to Klingon ships in some of the patrols, but they didn't. Those are just ships that you warp in and they've already been disabled and you are healing them. But I thought it was, I love what they've done with the virus. Yeah. And honestly, my favorite task force operation right now is the one that we do that is with all of this, where you go through and you're fighting the virus on the Klingon station, and the turrets are against you, and you have the infiltrators that are coming in, and you have to disable them while staying close enough to the station to defeat the virus. And then after that, you also have added in the prison escapes that are taking place, where you're having to disable the transports.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, my favorite part is when you have all these dilithium haulers that become bombers.
Jeez, yeah. It's like enough.
Which is my favorite part.
It's like, do we have enough objectives?
Oh, there is something about going in and finding the biggest batch of dilithium haulers you can.
Yeah.
Putting it on torpedo spread and firing it off and watching them all go boom. And then if you are in a flight deck cruiser, whether it is the D7 or the Connie, and you have your fighters and they're out there picking them off too.
Are you talking about the Disco Connie?
Yeah.
I love that ship.
That is my favorite.
It is way OP'd when you start off as a lieutenant.
And the legendary one is good too, but the Miracle Worker one, the Miracle Worker one is even better.
Well, the legendary is a Miracle Worker one.
Nah, the legendary one is temporal, I believe. Yeah, the legendary is temporal, because the extra console slot for the Miracle Worker is actually with the one that you get out of the box.
Legendary, yeah.
I've got about 4 of them. Sad.
I have the legendary pack too. It's just I haven't played as much as I should.
I need to play some of the other ships in the legendary pack.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward.
Temporal flight deck carrier. Yep, there it is.
If we end up getting the Klingon one, I'd love to see a Bortas that is the same as the legendary Odyssey, because I love the legendary Odyssey, and also love the legendary NX class. There are others that I believe would be that are fun as well, but those are the ones I tend to play more. And out of them, I do run one of the temporal Disco Connies just because it's fun itself and it has different powers.
You can tell right here that I'm looking at the Connie. The season 2 premiere, the finale, the Eve's concept, all of them right here. It is a beautiful looking ship. I actually like this skin better than the original series.
Yeah, and then it's also a ship that you can put other skins on and it looks really good.
But yeah.
There are some that look awful, but
like this, the phase 2 one.
Oh, you're looking at the Toss Connie.
No, no, I was looking at the disco a second ago, but when you're
Yeah.
talking about bad looking ones, then that's
Yeah.
when I switched over to the Toscani.
But the disco one, I love the Section 31 shield on Vanity Shield on that one. And I love the Alliance one.
I'll tell you one of my favorite ships, and it does not get any real love, is the Walker class.
I've got one of those that I run, except I don't have the Walker look on it. I've got the Excelsior one,
Oh,
the Excelsior variant
mhm.
skin that they put on it. And I love the story about how it was supposed to be made as like a battle cruiser, but instead it became a long range explorer.
Mhm. Ooh.
And it was like something about it was up for the commission, and they only made like 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the legendary Miracle Worker light cruiser. That's what I was thinking of. So it's the Phase 2 concept was the
Yeah.
Miracle Worker version. Then you
Yep.
got the legendary Temporal Flight Deck Carrier, which is the Disco Enterprise. Then you got the Intel Battle Cruiser, which is the Kelvin.
That one is a good ship.
Yeah, I like
It's,
that one.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Kelvin look of the Connie, but it doesn't look too bad if you get it set up right.
Yeah.
But that ship right there, I like it better than I like the the Kelvin Dreadnought.
Oh wow,
I can make that one dance
nice.
because it has such a nice turn rate on it.
And then you got the legendary Temporal Operative Science Vessel, the Glen.
Yep.
And then of course, can't go wrong with the Defiant.
Yeah, and I do love that legendary one.
Yeah. And then they got the Command Exploration Cruiser. I'm not really a fan of the skin, but I don't mind the stats on it.
It's a ship that I love the saucer, and I have like a hodgepodge between that and the Andromeda class, and I use
I
the
like
nacelles off of one of the other variants that were original with it, and it's a decent looking ship,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it, but I wish that it was more than a tank.
Yeah. See, I don't really like the saucer whole section of it.
Yeah, I run an Andromeda hull on mine,
Okay.
but I have the saucer of the Ross class.
Then we got the Miracle Worker multi-mission science vessel. Basically, it's the T6 version of the vessel, right?
Yes,
With Miracle Worker stats on it.
yes.
So it's I mean, I think that makes up for its lack of. I don't know. Most science vessels I find to be pretty weak, unless you talk about the Vesta.
Or unless you are one of the persons that know how to max out the psi magic, and they are in game, and you've seen them. They go out and they drop a power, and it sucks everything across the map.
Yeah.
But that's not me. I've never figured that one out.
Yeah. Then we got the Temporal Operative Escort, which is the NX refit.
I also love that one.
I wish
I
they would
love
have
the
gave us
saucer on that one, but I end up using the secondary hull of the NX refit.
I'm gonna say I'm not really a fan of the whole the Columbia skin. I rather they would have done a 25th century version.
Yeah. I like the saucer on it though. And so I run the saucer and I run the nacelles, but the rest is the pylons and the secondary hull are from the refit of the NX class.
I'll have to try that out. And then we got the Command Deck Dreadnought.
That is my second favorite Fed ship in game.
And then of course the Miracle Worker Assault Cruiser.
Yep, I love that one too.
Yeah.
I have it and I enjoy it probably more because that was my first Federation in-game ship. Was, based off of the Noble class, I guess it is, which is a variant of the Sovereign. And so I keep one and I fly it every once in a while, but I don't run that character that much.
Now it makes me want to go log into Star Trek Online and play it some more.
I love ships when it comes to this. My wife knows that I love ships because I have to she gives me the stink eye when I start talking about buying another one. And
Have you bought any of the models?
Huh?
Have you bought any of the models?
I have one model, and it is of a Klingon ship.
Oh, okay.
It's the Mo class. That's the one yours is named after.
Yes. The Moorhead. And I love, this is actually the Paint 4, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how well it just, with the 3D printed on it, I just love how well it turned out.
I wish I could get a print of my Disco Connie, but that's one of the ones that's locked out.
Well, I think it's because it's under, other companies already have the contracted rights to it. I'm hoping down the road.
Like Eagle Moss.
Yeah. Okay, help me understand something here. Mixed Dimensions has a lot of money invested in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're making, buku banks, and I'm pretty sure STL's making some money off that too. Why would they go around promoting Eagle Moss when their bread and butter is obviously Mixed Dimensions and all the customization options?
That I do not know. Honestly, part of it may be that they get models from Eagle Moss every so often. Because though it's kind of a,
have you seen
if I remember hearing it correct, huh?
Have you seen the prices?
Yeah. I actually have a few of the Eagle Moss ones, but I haven't bought one in a long time. Mm-hmm. But the last one I bought was the New Orleans class when it came out.
Well, I liked it when they used to offer, was it 2 for $40? And then they jumped all the prices up to like 30 is the cheapest. And if you want one of the cool ships, it's like 50.
They used to be a lot cheaper than they are now.
Yeah.
That's when I was buying it, was back then. And I had a subscription for a long time. But since then, kids, family, and,
That's not saying I don't like the models. And Eagle Moss's models are still cheaper than the 12-inch models that Mixed Dimensions offers. But Mixed Dimensions also does include the 4-inch model. It gives you a box.
Yep.
To store it in.
I wish they had stands, but I know you can get stands from elsewhere. And people, it's like the 3-prong thing that, you position them on. Yeah. But the Klingon ship I got, the Mo class, it's got the part of it's based on the T5 version, but it's got the T6 wings.
Oh.
And what I love about it is the way it's positioned. You can take a bottle cap off of a Coke bottle and stick it under it, and it just fits perfectly on it.
Because that's actually the next ship I want to get is a Moog.
Yeah. Just remember that. That is your tip for the day. A Coke bottle cap is the perfect chip stand for it.
Now,
because the underside is flat.
Yeah, I'm hoping now that they actually because I remember I bought that Moorhead when they first started doing it, and then I had to wait like 8 weeks. I'm kind of hoping that wait time is a lot lower.
Yeah,
that they've gotten more proficient about it. I'm hoping because I actually do want to purchase one. Yeah.
And these new Klingon ships. Oh, I hope that we get legendary versions. Yeah. It would be great to have to see a legendary D7 and a legendary Contenga. And for the Raptor, I'm honestly thinking that, how when they released the freighters, you got the Kobayashi Maru as one, and then you had the Klingon version.
Yeah.
Well, the Klingon version is based off of a Raptor. You just remove those cargo pods and voila. So it's almost like they put all this work into these models, and they want to make money off of them somehow. So I feel like we are going to get a legendary pack. I just wish they would say it.
Yeah, that would be nice. I want to show you something here.
All right.
So you see that is our tier 6 Klingon ships. That is a 25th century version. Do you think we're going to see more like this in the legendary pack? Or do you think we're just going to see some kind of...
I hope we do. I don't know.
The cells are different.
But I hope that we do.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw that someone had posted when they did a live stream for the Day of Honor
Hmm.
that there were some ships that they actually showed, and one of them may have been a reskin of
The
a
Vortex.
T6 version of the Klingon carrier.
The carrier went. Oh, I used to like that ship when it first came out.
Yeah, and there's another ship that might be a reskin of the Cation carrier, and then there was a Romulan looking ship, so we might have a carrier pack coming as well.
That'd be nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
but so you got these ships here, and I'm kind of wanting to see more of the 25th century. I do like the older designs, but I feel like in the Federation you have a lot of them. It's oversaturated, but in the Klingon side, you barely have any. You have like
And,
two that I
and
can
that
think.
was one of the problems with the disco is they brought in these ships that were from the disco universe or that timeline for Klingons, but I wish that they had had 25th century versions of them, and they didn't. And I know it has to do with time and money and all of that, but still, it's kind of frustrating because if you want to play a modern Klingon and a modern ship, we don't have that many choices.
No, we don't.
Can you imagine a new version of a D7 or a Continga?
Well, that would
The
be nice.
sleekness of it. I mean, think about the one they did for the Vorcha. The Vorcha, I can't remember what the new name is, but with the little hammerhead on the front, and it's got that more stocky body, but it's got an elegance to it.
Yeah.
It came out around the same time as the Naranda class.
Oh, okay.
That one is awesome. They can do it. They just need to do it.
But the question is, will they do it?
Yeah. And there again, we're going to go back to the fact that there is a reason why a lot of Klingon players feel that Captain Gecko does not like Klingon. But yet he's the one that this story arc is his baby.
Hmm.
And we also don't know how much the virus has slowed down everything for them.
Yeah, I just posted the other
That's a
picture.
ship that I enjoy. It's flat, a little flatter than I would want, but to me, that is Romulan meets Klingon in design.
Hmm. Because, like I said, these are the two 25th century ships that we get to see, and I like it. I mean, but I'm kind of wanting to see more. Okay, I accept this is an Intel style vessel. It's a low profile, and it looks pretty sweet.
Hmm.
Maybe I think it has a battle cloak. I don't remember.
It does,
Okay,
if I
so
remember correctly.
yeah, I don't actually. I
And
might
its
own the ship.
and its Intel seating make it a
Yeah,
beast.
but the whole idea is that it's supposed to be not seen or heard.
Yeah.
So it's a cool ship. I'd like to see more of these. I'd like to see a tier 6 25th century Negvar, maybe tier 6, carriers like you were saying. I
The legendary pack's perfect time to release some.
Yeah, I agree. Just hopefully they'll give it to us. So do you have anything else, Mike, before we get off for the night?
The only thing that I'll say is when you were watching, because they kept the actors' involvement quiet until the episodes were released. How did you take it when you played through and all of a sudden the character's eyes got Gowron
Yeah.
and you knew instantly, oh my God, it is his voice, and found out that that's Gowron's ancestor?
Yeah, a car.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually liked it. I mean, I like it when the Star Trek when the Star Trek actors do their own voiceover work or even the work of their ancestors. That doesn't bug me at all. Heck, I wouldn't mind seeing like Governor Worf.
This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, or maybe a younger version where he goes in the future. I don't know. This whole time traveling thing that they do, and anything's possible in STO, shall we say?
Yes. We've been to the future.
Yeah, we've been to the past.
Will we go back to the future?
That's a good question. The other thing is, like we got Captain Killy. We have. I'm hoping, but I don't know if she's gonna play a part.
I have a feeling we'll see her again.
You think
She's
so?
still
Maybe
out.
with Jimpock?
That's a good question. If Jimpot gets desperate enough,
Well, think about it. It's like
y-
with Giorgio came back and helped Discovery. Maybe
and think,
Tilly helps the Klingons.
and think about how much she knows about the fungi.
Uh,
I'm not even going to try to pronounce it the way I've been pronouncing things tonight.
yeah.
Oh shoot, what was that? What was the Pike quote? Something about if you're going to tell me that we're going to go skipping across the universe or the
I know.
galaxy on the back of mushrooms, I got to take it on faith.
Yeah. No, something like that. What was it? If you're gonna, oh, you're telling me that we're gonna skip across the universe on highway made of mushrooms. I got to take you on fate.
That's it. And honestly, I think that if you look back at the Killy episode, she knew exactly how to use.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, she's smart. She's Killy for a reason. I'd love to
Yeah.
see more of her.
I'm kind of hoping that we do. I
Mhm.
mean, I I wouldn't mind seeing Sela, but only when the time's right. I don't think that's now.
Yeah,
Maybe we might see Sela in this. That's another, because Denise Crosby is good friends with STO. Mary Wiseman is in the middle of the show and doing production, so she may not have the time. Maybe she does, kind of like we were talking about earlier. Do the actors have the time to do these sit-over work? We do know that when they do get these actors, they try to jam pack as much of recording as they can.
hmm and they
There's only,
stockpile some of it.
Mhm.
It's like we know they have these two, but I'm guessing they had Michael Dorn as well because a lot of those lines seem new to me that
Yeah,
you hear him say.
and I don't think they would. I'm pretty sure we've gotten all the lines we got out of the first time they had Michael Dorn on.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the Martok episodes where we freed him,
Yeah,
the Michael Dorn lines at that point were kind of rehashed, reused at
yeah,
that point. Martok.
yeah.
Chancellor Martok has a nice ring.
I hope we get that.
Hmm.
I really don't know what we can expect in the big announcement, but I kind of hope it's maybe they're dropping the walls and they finally figured out the gameplay mechanics to make it once you get to a certain point that there is no there is no good and there's no red, there's no blue.
It would be nice to be Kittimer Alliance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still think that the beginning episode should be that way, just so you have something to do. But going forward, I don't know. I mean, the other thing is maybe they will release a sub faction because we've been getting the Federation, we've been getting a lot of Federation ones like Agents of Yesterday, Discovery.
You may end up having a sub faction that is the Alliance
Yeah,
that begins on an Alliance world yet
yeah,
to be seen. That's their command center. And
or,
that's how you
or
start. And you start off in game, kind of like the Jim Hadar, where you are already pretty much at like level 60 or so.
yeah.
I could handle that.
I wouldn't
That's
mind
one reason.
handling a level 60 Ferengi, having that privateer thing that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that either. Like,
There are a
oh,
lot of things they could do that could be fun. They just have to do it. And it's a good way to make money. Every time you make a new character that you're planning to use,
yeah,
what do you have to do? You got to spend money to get your gear.
hmm.
Or you have to grind it, which is pretty much the same thing because you're in game.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing them. Like, okay, so now you got this character. He's pretty much max level. Oh, you don't have to really do these old episodes. You can do these new things, or maybe tie it more into the reputation system.
Hmm.
Tie it more into I wouldn't mind seeing like more customization options, like in the bridge interiors, because
Yeah.
I hate to say Star Wars, but Star Wars: The Old Republic, you can totally customize your interiors, and I don't think it's really that intensive as Al Rivera says, because the reason they say they can get away with the fleet maps is because they're not on continuously. They're only loaded when you load it.
Why
So
can't
all
it be
your
the same thing
assets,
for us?
yeah, no, I'm saying so all your assets are on the page. They're not always up. They're not always running on their servers. So unless you go and visit that page, it's the same thing in Star Wars. When you go and visit that page, or that particular asset, what they call strongholds, you can go in there and you can set up your trophies. You can set up your living room, and they charge you for all that. Don't get me wrong; they do nickel and dime you, man.
Yeah.
Star Trek Online could do
Again,
something like that.
a long time.
Yeah. Maybe you start with the generic said, "Oh, here's your bed, here's your locker," and that's basically it. you know, I
Yeah,
think it would be fun.
I'm surprised they never gave us more trophies and such to do,
Yeah.
because that's one of the few things you can do on your ship.
I would love to see, like, you have your bridge crew, right? Or you have your crew. Give them all rooms. Customize their rooms.
Yeah,
Maybe instead of having the bridge officer, everybody be on the bridge doing the bridge officer thing, have missions there, but then maybe like you go to their rooms and do things, and get unique missions or something like that, or something else.
yeah,
Like, hey, just different ideas, because the duty officer system is kind of getting old too. They need to update that also. That could be a
yes.
way of doing it,
This is very true.
but it all depends what they want to waste their time and money on. So, but it is getting up to like 2 hours. I would like to close out for the night, but
Works for me. Feel free to invite me again sometime. This
I
is
would love to have you again. All right, so guys, we're gonna go ahead and sign off for the night. I'd like to thank General Hogue for joining us tonight, and we would love to have him back here in the near future. Kapla! All right, hang on a second. I'm gonna go ahead and end the chat or in the live stream.